In the world of 40K, there's a shit ton of bad guys. And not just bad, but downright sadistic, masochistic, violent, and douchey. But there's one group that shines brightly in the grim darkness of the far future, and they're genuinely nice guys. Yep, I'm talking about the Salamanders. It might sound counterintuitive because they love to set shit on fire, but behind that heavy green exterior are the most loyal, honorable, and kind mofos you'll ever meet. Now, before they were renamed the Salamanders, they were originally known as the Dragon Warriors. During the Unification Wars, they got wrecked in their first battle for being too nice. They were rapidly whittled down to about 1,000 members. With their manpower reduced to a rounding error, the Imperium scattered small squads of them across various war zones. However, they would eventually be saved by their Primarch, Vulkan. His origin story began when baby Vulkan was thrown into the warp by the Chaos Gods and crash-landed on Nocturne, a planet that makes Mordor look like a vacation resort. We're talking volcanic eruptions, radioactive air, and skin-roasting UV levels that makes everyone's skin pitch black. Some poor old geezer finds this oversized infant and decides to raise him. By age 3, people realized Vulkan wasn't a regular human. He was probably the biggest-ass toddler you've ever seen. He was built like Prime Shack, and somehow even more intimidating, but also had the brains. And to top it off, the kid was a gifted blacksmith. Despite being built like a walking fortress, Vulkan had the heart of a golden retriever. If that retriever could bench press a tank. He genuinely loved his people, which made it real personal when the Dark Eldar showed up to raid his town. So, 4-year-old Vulkan stepped out with 2 hammers to defend his people. Inspired by the living demigod, the villagers rallied. Together, they fought. Vulkan alone killed 100 of those sadistic space elves. During the victory feast, a mysterious stranger rolled into town. He challenged Vulkan to a series of contests, and the winner takes the other as their glorified sidekick. The tournament consisted of lifting anvils the size of small houses and wrestling like gods on pre-workout. It was neck and neck. Then came the final trial. They had to find a fire-breathing lizard known as a salamander and kill the biggest one. Somewhere along the way, Vulkan got himself into trouble, and the stranger ends up saving him. Vulkan, moved by actual honor instead of flexing rights, dropped to one knee and swore loyalty. The stranger then revealed he was the emperor of mankind, and that Vulkan was his long-lost son. Vulkan didn't rush to join his legion. Instead, he decided to hang back with Daddy Emperor and soak up some divine wisdom first. When he eventually did show up, it was dramatic as hell. His legion was getting wrecked by an orc horde, and just when things were looking dire, Vulkan crash-landed with fresh troops from Nocturne. He obliterated the orcs with such righteous fury, it looked like he was making salsa verde. After the bloodbath, the fractured legion finally reunited. The dragon warriors dropped to their knees in awe. Vulkan, ever the anti-monarchist, basically told them to get up, quit the groveling, and act like they had a spine. He gave a speech so moving, it would have made Obama proud, declaring brotherhood and diversity. He emphasized they were all equals, and he wasn't here to be worshipped. Vulkan eventually renamed the Dragon Warriors Legion to the Salamanders in honor of the beast that him and Big E competed to hunt for. From that point on, the Salamanders stuck to recruiting exclusively from their own homeworld of Nocturne, a hellhole of volcanic tantrums and radiation. It was a perfect place to find someone who thinks running into gunfire is a valid career choice. The selection process begins when the unlucky aspirants get tossed into a death march across a wasteland. If they don't die of heat stroke, lava sharks, or sheer despair, they're shoved into a forge to sweat and suffer worse than an Amazon warehouse worker. When they've proven their blacksmithing skills, they have the honor of having the gene seed implanted into them. The last set of trials replicate all the feats performed by Vulkan in his youth, including the contests between him and the Emperor. This includes a task to hunt and kill a salamander, just like their Primarch. Upon success, they become a full-fledged battle brother, and some even wear the drake's hide upon their power armor as a token of honor. Recruiting from Nocturne had its perks. The locals were marinated in radiation and slowly roasted by solar flares. Combining that with the quirks of their gene seed, it resulted in skin blacker than burnt toast and eyes that glow bright red. But the real party trick was firesight. a delightful mutation that lets them see body heat like a predator hunting in the void, which is perfect for sniffing out enemies. And they saw many enemies throughout the Great Crusade, dutifully torching combatants while simultaneously trying not to ruin anyone's day. Between setting heretics ablaze and melting alien war machines, they made time to shake hands with the locals and hand out goodie bags. Honestly, they were the golden retrievers of the Imperium. Massive, armored, terrifying golden retrievers who just wanted humanity to be safe and happy. Their battles were precise. Ensuing civilian casualties were kept to a minimum. While the rest of the Imperium's forces earned the title Angels of Death, the Salamanders were more like Angels of Please Don't Cry, we're here to help. However, this outlook eventually led them into conflict with the Night Lords. During a joint operation with Konrad Curze, things went south. Vulkan discovered that Curze had liberated a city by massacring every single person in it. Children, women, elderly, all gone, just to terrify the rest of the planet into surrender. Vulkan lost his volcanic temper. The two Primarchs would get into a heated argument and set the stage for future beef. And this beef eventually did manifest itself into some A5 Wagyu. You see, Horus kicked off his rebellion with the drop site massacre on Isstvan 5. Vulkan and the Salamanders were there when the Iron Warriors nuked the fuck out of their position. The battlefield was turned into a smoldering grave, and most of the Salamanders were obliterated. But Vulkan survived, not knowing he's a perpetual. Basically, perpetuals are immortal fuckers who can constantly regenerate. Vulkan fought like hell, thinking he could go out in a blaze of glory. But he ended up getting kidnapped by none other than Konrad Curze. The Primarch of the Night Lords dedicated months to crushing Vulkan's spirit and attempting to kill him. He decapitated him. He tore out his throat. He impaled him, mutilated him, reduced him to meat confetti again and again. And each time, Vulkan came back, regenerating. It drove Konrad insane. Well, more insane. Ultimately, Vulkan somehow managed to escape to Macragge, the homeworld of the Ultramarines. His body was burnt to a crisp, while crashing through the atmosphere when entering the planet. As a result, the Ultramarines found his body but couldn't identify it. Over a few miserable days, Vulkan pulled himself back together, literally. But his mind was broken. He came back twitchy, raving, and swinging at anything that moved. Guilliman and the Ultramarines had to strap him down like a mental patient. Vulkan eventually broke out of the restraints to hunt down Konrad, who happened to appear on the planet. There were some back-and-forth battles, and eventually this guy named John interrupted and stabbed Vulkan with a special weapon that was supposed to return Vulkan back to his sanity. Instead, there was a psychic nuke that killed Vulkan, and this time, he didn't respawn. As was Salamander tradition, all corpses had to be returned to Nocturne. Vulkan's body was carted back to their home world, where, after some rather questionable volcano wizardry and a human sacrifice from one of his own generals, he rises again, like Jesus, but with a much more dramatic flair. He reunites with the remaining Salamanders, and they embark on a wild, interdimensional adventure through the Webway. Eventually, Vulkan arrives on Terra. He bumps into the Emperor, claiming that he was playing 5D chess. He announces that he orchestrated everything to get Vulkan here, and goes on to explain he's been guiding him through this cosmic scavenger hunt for a very special task. And it wasn't a cushy CEO role. Instead, Big E hands Vulkan a shiny red button and tells him it's his duty to press it if Horus ends up winning. This would cause Terra to explode, ensuring that chaos cannot spread. The Emperor entrusted him to commit mutually assured destruction. Meanwhile, the Salamanders played a limited role in the Horus Heresy, largely due to their near annihilation during the drop site massacre. They just didn't have the numbers to participate. The few who survived scattered into small war bands, hunting traitors and clashing repeatedly with the Emperor's children throughout the conflict. After the heresy, Vulkan fucked off, claiming he'd return in the end times. To this day, in the 41st millennium, the Salamanders and their successor chapters are still searching for him. They believe that by recovering all 9 of Vulkan's artifacts, they can somehow summon him, like fucking Exodia. But you can't blame them for clinging on to hope. It's the same hope that they spread towards all the humans they've liberated. Inspired by their Primarch's teachings, the Salamanders are known for their compassion toward ordinary citizens. They're space marines you'd be proud to bring home to meet your mother. All Salamanders are bound by the Promethean cult, which uphold doctrines of self-sacrifice, loyalty, and unity. Their sole purpose is the protection of humanity. To that end, each of them is a living weapon, forged in fire and shaped on the anvil of destruction. As a result of this symbolism, the cult revere fire and hammers. So naturally, blacksmithing is less a job and more a sacred calling. Every Salamander is required to max out blacksmithing to level 99, just like you would in RuneScape. From day one, they are trained to forge, maintain, and repair their own gear. This frees up the chapter's artificers to focus on crafting overpowered war gear. The result is a surplus of dreadnoughts, stomping around, and more master-crafted weapons. The Salamanders had another curious habit of living side by side with the average Joe on their home world of Nocturne. Imagine you're taking out the trash and bumping into your 9-foot, 500-pound dark-skinned neighbor. Some amongst the Imperium called them wussies for doing this as it showed weakness, but they saw it as strength and unity. Truth is, they were just working-class badasses who wanted to crack open a cold one with the neighbors after toiling away for 12 hours at the Anvil sweatshop. That concludes today's episode. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Please feel free to comment below on which topic I should cover next. If you'd like to support the channel, there's a Shopify store linked in the description for Warhammer LEGO figurines. I also have a Discord if you're interested in joining.